Exactly 4 days after he was at the vet and they told us like he doesn't have much longer to live, I had a pet portrait appointment. It never occurred to me the effect that this would ultimately have on my job. I'm a pet portrait artist. How did I think I was gonna get through this episode without crying? Oh my God. I really sat there and like wrote all this out like, yeah, no problem. I'm past this. It's been 2 months and I'll be fine. But apparently not. No one ever told us the hard parts about being a creative for a living, that there will be days when you wake up and you just can't be creative and you have to show up and perform anyway. Days when you have to push aside all your personal problems and whatever bullshit is going on back home, do the song and dance, and create the thing as if life was just fucking perfect. Balancing personal struggles with professional obligations is so complicated and can really have us second guessing our life decisions. Today, I want to talk about those days. How do we push through? And when is it okay to just call it off? You wake up in the morning, you're fully prepared for the day ahead, you have a large all-day appointment scheduled, the client's super excited, they've been waiting months for this day, and just as you're about to head out the door, it happens. You get into a fight with your husband or your wife, you get some really bad or sad news, your dog runs away, whatever it looks like. We've all been in that situation where something completely fucks up your day emotionally and you feel like you just can't do it. You just can't bring yourself to put on the smile and go into work and pretend like everything is fine, but you have a full day scheduled and people are counting on you to be there. So what do? Deciding where the line is has to be a personal decision. I can't tell you how to make that choice. I just want to talk about it and normalize the fact that we're human fucking beings. And this is a very real situation that we have to navigate. And it's something that you have to be prepared for because you're not going to escape this. If you haven't experienced this yet, it's coming for you and you have to be ready with a plan. I want to help you weigh out the pros and cons of this and maybe help you come to a conclusion and create some kind of rules or boundaries for yourself. So when these days do show up, you can make that decision a little bit easier. We have to hash out all those internal debates and decide what's best for us and for the client and for the overall situation. For a lot of people, guilt is going to keep them from staying home, and the fear of judgment from your coworkers or clients or just trying to maintain that professionalism might keep you from staying home. But on the other side of this is things like self-care and avoiding burnout and not being able to give our client 100%, which is not going to be representing you or the shop the way that you want to represent them. And it's normal to have these internal battles going on when you're faced with a decision like this. But at the end of the day, you have to decide for yourself. Hopefully you don't work somewhere that would say, fuck your feelings, get in here, because that's problematic, right? But I also have to tell you that being too quick to cancel everything can be equally problematic. The truth that no one really wants to hear is that it takes pushing through these hard days to be able to push through these hard days. And what I mean by that is the more times you can challenge yourself to overcome something difficult like this, the more you're proving to yourself that you can. And the easier it will be for you in the future. Every time you choose the easy way and just avoid having to deal with things, the more you're confirming to yourself that you can't handle it, which leads you to making the decision to not push through that much easier and that much faster. So how do we make this decision? How do we determine what we can push through and go to work and what is too much? And how do we learn to balance this? Again, I can't tell you what is or is not too much for you to handle. I can only give my perspective and share what I've learned. Over the last 20 years, I've had many, many hard days like this that I've had to put on a face and get through the workday many times. It's part of the deal. And this episode idea actually came from a very real recent experience just like this. If you follow me online at all, you may know that I have a dog named Baxter and he's my little buddy, but he is very old. He is a 10-year-old Frenchie and Baxter is not doing well. He was losing weight rapidly. He had completely stopped eating. I think that we weren't really sure when he stopped, but it was over a week of him not eating at all. He stopped drinking water for days. And so we took him to the vet and found out that he has tumors in his throat and in his mouth. And the vet let us know that he's likely not going to be around much longer. And she sent us home with some meds and wished us luck, and we were prepared for the worst. And we had to come to terms with the fact that this might be it for him. And we have to make this decision now. When are we going to, end his life so that we can end his suffering? And, making all of these plans and things. And it's a horrible, horrible thing to do. I haven't had to do it since this is my first dog. This is my first, my dog. I grew up with dogs, but Baxter is mine. I got him, on my own, and I've had him since he was a puppy. So it was really hard. And so, we had to discuss all of the options and make a plan what we were going to do when it was time and how long we were going to give it. But with the help of the steroids and cooking him super healthy meals from scratch and hand feeding him every day, and, he's my prince and I will do whatever I have to. If I have to hand feed him and bottle feed him at 10 years old, I'm going to fucking do it. But he has made a miraculous recovery. And 3 or 4 days later, he was back to acting mostly normal and he was actually eating on his own again. And I guess the steroids just shrank the tumor inflammation enough that it wasn't painful or uncomfortable for him to eat anymore. So he's back to normal. But we don't know for how long. He's doing better now, but he is still very near the end of his life. The vet kept saying, well, we don't have a 10-year-old Frenchie. They don't live very long, which, what the fuck, lady? Who says that? Anyway, but we know that this is probably not going to be for much longer. He's only, we're just kind of buying time with him. His death is guaranteed. It's imminent. It's coming. We just have to wait it out. And when I adopted him 10 years ago, it never occurred to me the effect that this would ultimately have on my job. I'm a pet portrait artist. How did I think I was going to get through this episode without crying? Oh my God. I really sat there and wrote all this out. Yeah, no problem. I'm past this. It's been 2 months and I'll be fine. But apparently not. I don't even know what I was saying. It never occurred to me that having him would make me regret what I do. I'm a pet portrait artist, and the majority of the pets that I do are memorials. And for people who in most cases just recently lost their pets, it's already a super emotional thing that I do. And I already, even before this point, would have a really hard time sometimes getting through the tattoos without getting upset because, I love animals and I feel for these people who are going through it. A lot of these people, these are their children. They don't have kids, and so their pets are their kids. So it's already emotional. It's already hard. And now I have to think about after he passes, what am I going to do? And I'm questioning, how the fuck am I going to go to work and do portraits for people's pets that have passed away? And how am I going to get through that? Looking ahead at my schedule, exactly 4 days after he was at the vet and they told us he doesn't have much longer to live, I had a pet portrait appointment. I mean, I have them every week. That's no surprise. I'm surprised I had 4 days before the first one, but before knowing what was going to happen with him, I was in absolute panic. I didn't even want to do it. I'm thinking I'm going to be bawling. I'm going to be a mess. And I'm going to have to do this tattoo while I'm crying and upset. That's not fair to my client. I'm not going to even enjoy this. Am I ever going to want to do pet portraits again? I'm questioning my entire career at this point. But I had to pull myself together and really consider the situation. And it made me realize, who better than me? In this moment, who would be better than me? Who is a better person for this job than me? The reason they chose me for this project is that they decided that I am the only person that can do this super important tattoo for them, which is an honor, which is amazing. And I'm happy to do that. And I really love doing them for people. And they chose me for a reason. And now I'm going through it and I understand their pain. I understand what they're going through. I understand that loss. I understood it already, but it's very real for me now. It's very real in this moment. And I had to just kind of step back and be like, no, like, why would I not do this? What I do is such a huge part of their healing. And in this moment, I can fully understand and relate to the love that they feel for their pet. And I can easily put myself in their shoes and feel the weight and the importance this tattoo holds for them. And I will make this tattoo more meaningful than some random person who's just trading art for money and has no attachment or understanding what this means. I can more closely relate to them now, and I can help them celebrate and mourn their pets, just like I would want someone to help me once Baxter is gone. So I decided to keep the appointment and go to work that day. And I was mostly okay, and I held it together because, like I said, he was doing better by that day. He was eating on his own. He was walking around, like just being totally normal. He's just very skinny because he's lost some weight, but he was doing much better. So it was easier for me to hold it together that day. But I did end up crying on my poor client who, just for a moment when she asked me about him because she follows me. And of course, the last thing you want someone to ask you when you're going through it is, are you okay? Or is everything okay? Because you're like, no, it's not. Nothing's okay. So of course, that's what she asked. And I fell apart. And cried on her a little bit, but she was so incredibly sweet and understanding. And she obviously, like, she just lost her dog a few months ago. And so she gets it, but she was emotionally doing better than I was. And I haven't even lost my dog yet, but she understood it. Like, we understood each other, and acknowledging that what I do has a purpose, and understanding that I'm here to help people, and that this is not just a job, kind of made it all okay. And it pushed me to do my best and give her the best memorial piece that I possibly could, when my fear was that I wouldn't be able to do that at all. It was therapeutic for her to have this tattoo, and it was therapeutic for me to create it for her. So I made the decision the way that I did because keeping the appointment meant more to me than protecting my feelings did. And this is not always going to be the answer. Every situation is so different. But for me in this moment, this was the right call. I do want to clarify that we have to be very careful that we aren't just dumping all of our emotions onto our clients, and we can somewhat hold it together. No one wants to get tattooed while also being your therapist. And like, that's way too much. And that's not fair to them. Relating to them on something that they're going through is one thing, but holding your client hostage with your emotions and your trauma, that's an entirely different story. If you can't keep from doing that, you got to take the day off. And I do, this wasn't in the plan of what I wanted to talk about today, but literally this recording is an example of this exact thing. Like, I knew I wanted to record this episode because I do think it's important to talk about, but like, obviously I'm going through it still, just trying to keep my emotions in check just so I can speak. I'm like a real ugly crier. So I have a hard time talking and crying. So guys, I'm doing great. Thanks for cheering me on. I can hear you cheering me right now. But like, this is a perfect example. Like, it would be easy for me to be like, no, I'm not going to talk about this until it's okay and it doesn't hurt anymore to talk about. But I'm here. It's important. So I want to just be real and honest and take this opportunity while I'm in it, while I'm feeling it, to talk about it, because it's going to mean more. It's going to probably make a lot more sense if it's coming straight from the heart. Moving on. But I just wanted to put together a little list of things that you should consider when you're trying to make this decision to push through or to stay home. So number one, what is the nature of your emotional state? Is it grief? Is it anxiety? Is it just a passing mood that you can get under control? There's no right or wrong answers here. These are just questions for you to ask yourself and just to kind of assess the situation so that you can make a decision. So what's the nature of your emotional state? Number two, will you still be able to do your best work? Is this something that's going to jeopardize the quality of your work or the quality of your client's experience? Or can it be managed with a few breaks and some comfort food? Personally, I find that getting sushi delivered cures my bad attitude on most days. Number three, are there any potential benefits for you or for the client if you keep the appointment? So things like distraction. Sometimes having things to keep me busy and keep my mind off of a thing is actually what I do need. So I can go to work and just like have fun conversations and talk about really lighthearted things and make jokes and whatever and not have to think about like the hard, messy stuff. Otherwise, I'd be sitting at home, harping on something all day long. Using this as a creative outlet, would I just be sitting home drawing or painting this out anyway? I do my best work when it's emotion driven. And I don't know about you, I feel like that's a very like artist thing. So maybe this is a creative outlet and this is just a way for you to get it out without actually having to talk about anything. And does it give you a purpose? Is there like a deeper, more important like purpose behind this? Like with my pet portrait experience, will it give you a feeling of purpose and help your client in a big way while also helping you overcome what you're going through? It's pretty rare that I'm not able to power through a bad morning or an emotional time in my life. For me, art and tattooing is the outlet that I need for those things. And honestly, most of the time, if I'm having a bad morning or have something going on or I'm just having a rough week, I feel better when I go to work. Maybe that's not normal for you, but I love tattooing. And anytime that I'm able to do that is a good day. And it can turn my entire day around. It also helps that I love the people I work with. So just being in my shop with my friends, hanging out, doing cool tattoos, like literally turns my entire day around. I could be in the shittiest, foulest fucking mood. And as soon as I get to the shop, I'm like, that's better. God, sometimes I want to just live there. But anyway, but there have been a few days where nothing's going to turn it around. And that's an entirely different story. And the biggest one that comes to mind is the day that I lost one of my best friends, Chance, to cancer. So the day I got the news, I was at work. It was the middle of the day. And this was not something that I was just going to be able to power through and keep working through. I actually don't remember anything at all from that day because, first of all, it was like 9 years ago now. And other than telling my boss that I have to go, I literally just blacked out the rest of the day. But I do know without knowing that whatever I had scheduled that day didn't fucking matter. I was an emotional wreck and there was no way that I was going to be able to pull off a good tattoo or a good experience for my client. And there was no greater purpose happening there, no mutual benefit to be had. And it must have worked out fine because the world didn't end and I'm still here. I still have my career. I still have clients. So it worked out. Whatever happened, however I handled that, I must have, handled it the right way, but I could not physically tattoo. I couldn't even think straight. I just remember, I remember driving home being just a fucking wreck and, thankfully did not wreck on my way home, but I do remember just like holding it together on my way out the door. And as soon as I got in my car, just like losing it. But this would not have been a good experience for the client or for me, or who knows like how that tattoo would have turned out. I would not have been 100% focused in it. And there's no way. I had to call it on this one. Shit happens. Emergencies come up. Tragic events occur out of nowhere. And the absolute best you can hope for is that you handle it in the most professional way possible and that your client is understanding. And worst case scenario, if they want their deposit back and really if they're that heartless and unable to understand that there's an actual emergency, I probably don't want to work with them anyway. And the way I see it is I will gladly give someone their deposit back to pay them to go away because they're clearly not the right person for me. Otherwise, I'm going to do my best to reschedule them or have another artist help them if I'm not able to. And I think the big difference between this being an acceptable situation or not is the frequency of your emergencies. So if you're canceling and rescheduling your clients often, you really need to assess what's going on and why your life is chaos. As a reformed, chaotic person like this that used to always have things happening and it was always everybody else's fault and I couldn't help it. You may think it's out of your control, but is it really? Or are you actually the problem? Are you making bad decisions? Are you not planning ahead? You're not paying your bills. You're doing things that later come back to bite you in the ass and disrupt your entire life. Is it truly out of your control? I find that people who commonly have these extreme situations popping up that they're always having some kind of drama or chaos going on, it's usually repercussions of something that they did in the past. And you can always trace it back to being avoidable. Your car broke down. You ran out of gas. Your power got turned off. You double booked somebody. Like, these are all avoidable situations. Like, you could have maintained your car better. I mean, I get there's like random things that come out of nowhere, but like, if these are common things, it's probably you. I'm sorry. Hate to be the person to tell you, but it's probably you. And like I said, I know this because that used to be me. I won't go into detail on why all of these are avoidable. I won't go into detail on why all of these are avoidable, but I'm sure you get it. But a true emergency, any decent person is going to understand. Sure, they might be upset and irritated, but they're going to be understanding. And if you have to refund the deposit, refund it. This isn't the time to stick to your no refunds policy. It's your responsibility to make it right, whatever that means to them. So if they're that upset, they want their money back, just fucking give it to them, be done. Move on. Thinking about how to make this decision now and coming up with a plan now is going to make this so much easier for you in the future. So the next time that you're having a bad day, just take a moment to pause and assess, is this something I can push through and find the purpose in, or is pushing through causing more harm than good? Can I still do my best work? Is going to work the thing I need to get my mind off of this and get through it? Is this an opportunity for me to make a connection with my client? Is there a deeper purpose to showing up anyway? Whatever decision you make, just be professional, be honest with your client, make the choice that's best for both of you. And if you have to cancel, just make it right.